Is okay, recording is on. Yep. As I said, my names are Lawrence Zuma, one of the community and the program lead at Nairobi DevOps. So I officially welcome you all for this session that is Huawei powered by Nairobi DevOps for Huawei Cloud DevOps Training, which is a 9 weeks program to give you aspect of, to give you in-depth of Huawei Cloud. For the organizers, we are a Nairobi DevOps community we're a tech community in Kenya, mostly into DevOps and cloud aspects. And our mission as other communities to create a supportive and inclusive community where we value the diversity and support learning and growth part of it. So in these aspects, we tend to bring in and to partner with different organizations, just like Huawei, to bring us up to these training that we're going to get for this 9-week program. Then our main pillar of the community is innovating, power and grow. We are not growing just in terms of these events, but in terms of sharing knowledge and partnering with the different organization and community to bring you in-depth training or in-depth learning in DevOps space. So for this training session in terms of Huawei Cloud, we have got 2 facilitators trainers who take us through this training. And that is Aaron, who is a cloud solution architect in DevOps and the DevOps engineer at Huawei. Then Anthony Maina, who is also a solution architect at Huawei. Anthony is from Kenya. Then Iran is from Turkey. At this point, I'll welcome, just before I dilute the bio, I could welcome Anthony to take us to give a brief introduction of themselves, then to give us a walkthrough of what we shall get into the training. Anthony, how do you?
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So my name is Anthony Miano, and I'm a solutions architect here at Huawei Cloud. So we support customers across the Eastern African region. So we have our rep office in our main regional office in South Africa, and Kenya is one of the rep offices within this region. So we're happy to be here, and in fact, this conversation actually sprung up.
Sorry for interruption, Anthony. Can we mute to Nairobi DevOps? It's echoing in the session. Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. Is it still echoing?
No, it's better, I think.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. So the idea of this training actually came from a conversation with one of our partners, because he mentioned that at the end of the day, when we, implement all these cloud technologies, the end user is the engineer, whether it's a software engineer or the DevOps engineer. So he mentioned that it's best to get feedback or get engagement with the actual end users of the platform, just so as to improve it and to also build that awareness. So based on that conversation, we met with Iran, and we decided to launch this 9-week program just to empower the community and to build awareness, and also just to get to understand how things are on the ground from the perspective of an engineer within the cloud space, within the DevOps space. All right, so I'll leave it to my colleague as well to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, thanks for all of your time, and nice to meet you, all of you. I am Eren. I am working at Huawei as a solution architect. I'm currently working on the Turkey R&D, and actually, my team is mainly responsible for the platform as a service services in Huawei Cloud. So we met with Anthony when I was in Kenya for a business trip, and our main purpose is the most important aspect was to actually raise the awareness of Huawei Cloud services and share this public cloud technology with the others actually. And that's all from my end. We can continue. Maybe Anthony, you can share the slides and we can dive deeply in using the slides.
All right. So just give me a second.
Okay.
Sharing my screen now. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay, so welcome to week 1 of the 9-week program for Nairobi DevOps and Huawei Cloud. So I'm pretty excited for the next couple of weeks. Feel free to interact, to ask as many questions as possible, and we'd like to give you the most value out of this session and also learn from you as we go. So without further ado, let's start off with the introduction to Huawei as an organization. So basically, Huawei has been around for the last approximately 30 years. And within that time, we've grown to about 207,000 employees. And one very unique thing about Huawei is their focus on research and development. In fact, about 55% of the revenue is plowed back into investing in R&D. So we believe in innovation and building on our learnings from the different markets that we operate in. And thus we've been able to expand to 170 plus countries, and we have over 140,000 patents globally. And our vision and mission is basically to bring digital to every single person, every single home and organization, and build a fully connected world. So let's bring that down to now, how we go about doing this. So this slide actually shocked me the first time I joined, because before joining Huawei, I'd only interacted with it from the device level. I used to have a very old Huawei phone back in the day, and that's the only realm I had interacted with Huawei's products. So I was shocked to realize that they're doing so much in both the digital and the infrastructure space. So for example, there's a consumer business unit that handles everything in regards to the end user devices like the smartphones, the wearables, and the like. And also, an interesting department is the intelligent automotive solution department. In fact, did you know that Huawei actually has created a vehicle, the Huawei Aito M9? It's a fully electric vehicle and very, very advanced and luxurious as well. Then moving on to the carrier side of our business lines. So we do a lot of wireless connectivity. So in fact, if you're using Safaricom Home Fiber at your home, your router is most likely a Huawei router. So we work closely with the telcos, especially in this region, Safaricom, MTN, Vodafone. And then in terms of our enterprise business, we have 3 sub-departments. There's a computing, where we sell the data center equipment. So your data center storage boxes and also the servers. Then there's the cloud department, where now I'm located. So we do both public and private cloud. So I have some slides later on just showing you the different customers that we've deployed these solutions for. So given that we have the flexibility to do both private and public cloud, we do also a lot of hybrid cloud deployments. So we have customers that use both the public and the private cloud solutions from Huawei. And the last one is the digital power department. So Huawei is also into green energy or renewable energy. So we sell our smart solar solutions, and we also have our smart charging networks for the electric vehicles. And also we have manufactured an electric drive, which is basically an engine that powers electric vehicles. We also do a data center facility and energy management solutions. So that's Huawei in a nutshell. So since we're here because of the cloud, let's move closer to Huawei Cloud in the context of Africa. So Huawei has the largest investment in infrastructure among all the hyperscalers, because typically you'd find your average hyperscaler would have a region in South Africa and maybe a local cloud in Nigeria. But for Huawei, we do have a region in South Africa. We have another region in Egypt serving our Northern Africa clients, and also a local cloud in Nigeria that was launched last year, Q4. We also have points of presence in Ghana and Kenya. So that helps you cache data closer to your users through the CDN nodes. All right, so what does this mean for you as an end user of Huawei Cloud? It means that we can provide extremely low latencies from the range of 60 to around 70 milliseconds. That's between Kenya and South Africa. So even for your low latency applications, we can be able to service that and help you meet your clients' requirements and service them seamlessly and in a very, very robust way. So moving on to what I had described earlier. So we do have all kinds of cloud solutions as a company, everything from the normal public cloud that you're used to, just like your AWS and your Azure. And within the public cloud, we do have a dedicated cloud. So if you're maybe from an industry that's highly regulated, you can cordon off a part of that infrastructure that you own and have access to, even at the hardware level. Then we also have the private cloud, which we've deployed quite a lot, especially here in Kenya. And then we have the edge cloud solution. So the edge cloud solution is basically a stack of cloud servers that we can push to your data center so that you can run your workloads and have your data residing locally. So the brand name for the edge cloud solution is Cloud Pond. And for the Huawei private cloud is Huawei Cloud Stack. So that gives us the flexibility to deploy any sort of configuration of these three, whether it's hybrid cloud or purely public or purely private or purely distributed or edge. We can be able to do that. So currently for Africa, the edge cloud is not yet available, but it will be available very soon. Now let's move on to specifically the public cloud, because that's where a lot of us tend to interact with your typical hyperscaler cloud service provider. So our nearest region being Johannesburg, and our most mature region within Africa being Johannesburg, we have all sorts of services within that region. In fact, Johannesburg has a total of 3 availability zones. So for your very critical workloads, you can actually deploy them in high availability and meet the level of reliability that your customers or your business requires. All right. So we do have solutions around computing, your virtual machines, we call them elastic cloud servers, whether it's bare metal servers and the like. Also for our storage, we do offer all kinds of storage, the block storage, the file storage, object storage as well. For the network services, if you want to deploy a direct connect, do your VPNs and your VPCs within the cloud, you're able to do that. And in terms of security, it's extremely robust. We offer end-to-end security, everywhere from the edge security, where we protect you through the web application firewall, the anti-DDoS. Also, we have a CDN protection service called EdgeSec that protects your CDN nodes. Then in terms of the database side, this is one of the areas we really shine. We have built our own version of our own database product called GaussDB. So GaussDB, from first principles, is basically started as a fork of Postgres. But if over time, Huawei has matured it into a very robust enterprise database and also an enterprise data warehouse. Yeah. So GaussDB, especially in the Chinese region, has been a good replacement for Oracle, because typically you'd find Oracle databases, in as much as, yes, they suit the enterprise workloads, there's a high cost, especially in the licensing. So a lot of people, when they try run away from the licensing, they opt for open source. So let's say like your Postgres SQL. But now for a developer, that's okay. But when it comes to an enterprise, let's say something goes down, you need that level of vendor support to help you recover your systems or help you troubleshoot. Yeah, because you have a lot of SLAs with your customers. So we provided the best of both worlds, a DB that's based on open source technology, but also has vendor support from Huawei as a cloud provider, hence the product GaussDB. So GaussDB has a lot of iterations. It has GaussDB for MySQL, which is now named TorusDB. We also have GaussDB for Cassandra as well, GaussDB for MongoDB. So it's pretty flexible and robust. Okay, so I think that this is where everyone has an interest in, since this is a call with a lot of DevOps engineers. So we do offer services that help you deploy modernized applications through, maybe it's containerized workloads. We have the managed Kubernetes service in Huawei Cloud called Cloud Container Engine. So you can actually deploy Kubernetes on Huawei Cloud and manage your worker nodes. Or if you don't want the overhead of managing the underlying worker nodes and you want to just focus on your Kubernetes deployment, we also offer CCE Autopilot, which is a service that offers you serverless Kubernetes, serverless managed Kubernetes on Huawei Cloud. All right. So I don't want to preempt too much because the rest of the course will cover in depth in terms of the developer services. We also have our video services. So we have a VOD platform, which is used by one of the prominent media houses here in Kenya, that's Citizen TV. Then we also have the observability management and deployment services within our cloud. These will be also covered later on in the course. And another key area where Huawei shines is the big data and AI capability, because Huawei is known for building smart cities. And to build a smart city, it's very, very dependent on big data and AI technologies. So I have one of the customers within this region, that's Konza, that is actually using Huawei's private cloud, and also within that using the big data and AI technologies. Okay, so that's just an overview of what's available in Johannesburg, or rather some of the services that are available in Joburg. Okay, so why Huawei Cloud? Because you see, you have a lot of other hyperscalers to choose from, the AWSs, the Google, Azure, and all that. So what differentiates Huawei is that we're heavily compatible with open source. So our cloud was actually built from the OpenStack cloud, and over time matured and refined to form both our public cloud and our private cloud product. And another key thing, which you'll realize even as we go into the demos, is that the Huawei cloud is very user-friendly. You don't have to worry about a very complicated management console that you need to kind of have some very deep understanding of that cloud to navigate through. Huawei is very seamless and user-friendly, which you'll get to see in the coming weeks. Then this is one heavy and extremely prominent differentiator for Huawei Cloud as compared to the other hyperscalers, is that Huawei has invested heavily in local and regional support, meaning that within your country, you have access to Huawei personnel who can help you troubleshoot, support, deploy, and just manage the day two operations or the after sale operations of your cloud or any other product. In fact, here in Kenya, we have a team of about 500 employees ready to service the market from all those different departments, whether it's digital power, enterprise, cloud, and the like. So this is a key differentiator, and we've found that it's resonating a lot with customers within this region, because you'd find maybe you as a customer, you're given credits and you start exploring in the typical hyperscalers cloud, but once those credits run out, you haven't really learned how to optimize your cloud environment or your systems on the cloud. You've not really invested much time in getting to understand how to properly and cost effectively manage your cloud system. So this is something I've seen a lot, especially here in Kenya. So once those credits run out, the customer is left, trying to put out fires. So how we approach this differently is that we guide you from the onset, whether it's through the POC or even during the actual deployment. We have a team that's locally ready to support you every step of the way, even after the fact that you fully deploy on Huawei Cloud, which I'll get into in the next slides, where I highlight some of the customers we've worked with here in Kenya. All right, then also, because of a lot of the services that we have are fully managed, we reduce the operational overhead. And since we're able to help you right-size your workloads, we're able to lower the TCO, the total cost of ownership, compared to on-prem. Okay, so this is the most important part of my presentation, not only because of what Huawei has done, but even for all of us from a career development perspective, because at the end of the day, we're not hired because we know all these cool technologies or how to deploy in such an automated way, but we're employed because, or rather, we're brought in because we can deliver a certain value to a certain industry. So even as we move on and learn all these technologies, I'd really emphasize that we tie it back to the actual people we're trying to impact with this technology, and that's the customer. Whether you're an entrepreneur and serving your customers through your platform that's on the cloud, or even as an employee working as a DevOps engineer or a software engineer or a cloud engineer or a cloud architect. So let's move on now to the actual customer stories. So I've included this slide just showing some of the industries that we've been able to offer solutions for. This slide originally had the logos of the customers, but I removed it just in case I, might get fired if I put it there. So I have certain key customers here in Kenya that are successful on the Huawei Cloud platform, and these are brands that are very recognizable in the region. So let me start off with M-PESA. And by the way, this is information that's publicly available that you can be able to have a look at. So let me share this first link of what we have done with M-PESA. All right. So for M-PESA, they're present in multiple countries within East and Central Africa, and we help them deploy the M-PESA application on the Huawei private cloud, which is Huawei Cloud Stack. And on top of that, the software that's running M-PESA, rather M-PESA 2.0, is actually a Huawei product. So we also have our own mobile money solution that we help payment service providers within the region deploy and meet the needs of their customers. So this is one of our key success stories, especially in the fintech industry, which is M-PESA. So that proves actually how robust Huawei is as a technology provider. I'm almost 100% sure that 90% of the people in this call have used M-PESA, or maybe you've used a fintech that is integrated with M-PESA. So that's just a testament to how robust Huawei's technologies are. Then the next customer that we have dealt with in this region is actually Konza. So those of you who are in Kenya, you know that Konza is the smart city project that's being developed within Kenya, just a few kilometers away from Nairobi CBD. So for Konza, we help them deploy their private cloud. So their private cloud solution is running on Huawei Cloud Stack. And on this private cloud solution, a lot of the government solutions and products are running directly on Huawei private cloud. So let me push that to the chat as well. Okay. Then another interesting customer of ours who we actually migrated from a different hyperscaler is Royal Media Services, or popularly known as Citizen TV. So for Citizen TV, we are hosting the VOD platform, video on demand, which is called Viusasa. It's like the Netflix of Kenya. So we help them migrate this platform into Huawei Cloud because we have a very strong VOD product. And initially, the issues were along the lines of high cost. So this is a key differentiator of Huawei Cloud. We are very cost effective because we own the entire value chain of the whole cloud. We create the infrastructure, we manage the network and create the network devices. We are in charge of also creating the services that are running on the cloud. So the fact that we own the entire stack from an infrastructure perspective enables us to offer more competitive pricing compared to the other cloud providers. So another issue was that the platform was stored, or rather hosted, in Ireland, and yet the core users are within Kenya and the East Africa region. So moving them to Johannesburg enabled them to boost their efficiency and lower their latency and give their clients a better user experience. So your video is not buffering, you're able to have very good quality streaming experiences. Yeah, and you end up being a very happy viewer. All right. Then we also made sure we designed for high availability to ensure resiliency of the platform. All right. You remember I mentioned about GaussDB, right? So initially they had been using MySQL. So we migrated them to GaussDB for MySQL, which is a much more robust solution and with OEM level support. So that's one of the solutions we gave them. And as I mentioned, the VOD platform, which basically helps them deploy View SASA within Huawei Cloud. And a key differentiator is that we offered them 24/7 support locally. We even pulled from the global team to help them be more successful. And even, let's say, if any of you is attending this call from the perspective of you're getting feedback for a potential customer, we also do benchmarking. So for Royal Media, we brought a Chinese media company called Mango TV to just help benchmark on how to modernize on the cloud with Huawei. Yeah, so we lowered the cost, delivered better viewing experience, and also improved the stability and uptime through our infrastructure. Okay, so these are the popular brands within Kenya that we've worked with, and it's just a testament to what we've been able to do in this region. All right, so another customer is actually Kilimo, and I saved this for last because this is a very DevOps heavy customer use case. So for those of you who know Kilimo, it's an e-commerce platform, right? And Huawei has a very huge experience with e-commerce. Since China, e-commerce is just like their bread and butter, right? So lots of experience from that side on the part of Huawei. So we helped move Kilimo from a different hyperscaler into Huawei to be able to service the African market much, 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 much better. All right. Okay. So let's see, what are the main challenges that Kilimo had? So they wanted to expand and serve the African consumers, right? So you need to host the service ideally within Africa so that the latency is lower, the user experience is better. Also, the Kilimo team were developing based on Scrum and all that, and they were using containers, but they needed a much more elegant way to manage their entire DevOps lifecycle. So this is a preemption of what Iran will cover next week, which is CodeArts. Stay tuned for that. Then another one is that they wanted to develop the solutions rapidly, release their features more rapidly, bring their product to market more rapidly, so that they can serve their customers throughout Africa. Again, DevOps is a very critical part in ensuring this. Okay, so how does their solution look like when deployed on Huawei Cloud? Okay, so for the DevOps engineers in the room, please pay attention. All right, so when you're typically designing an architecture, or a microservice architecture within the cloud, you need some sort of load balancing to direct the traffic to the different either availability zones if you've deployed in high availability, or even to direct them to the different microservices. Okay, so you also use Kubernetes to deploy the actual microservices within your architecture so that you have a resilient and scalable architecture that can be able to serve your customers, and you're able to scale each microservice independently. So how did Huawei support that, right? So we have the elastic load balancer within Huawei. For now, the Nginx cluster, they were using the VMs from Huawei, ECS. Then for the Kubernetes workloads, they were using Cloud Container Engine, which is now the CCE Turbo, which is the one where you can manage your worker nodes. That's why you're seeing the ECS VMs. These are worker nodes, all right? Then within your architecture, let's say it's Black Friday, right? And everyone is bombarding your site with requests, trying to buy different products that are on offer. So instead of requests going directly to your database, you need some sort of way to cache the most frequently accessed data so that when your users are coming in, their user requests are coming in, they can just hit the cache and reply to the user, right? So this reduces the load on your database so that you can be able to handle high traffic much more efficiently. Okay, so that's why we used the distributed cache service within Huawei, so DCS for Redis, to help them cache their data. Then again, from the Kubernetes side, right, you need a way to maybe store the persistent data so that as your containers respawn or maybe time out and go offline as you scale up and scale down, or maybe there's an issue with one of your containers and they need to be decommissioned, you still need a way of persistently maintaining the data that was produced as your system interacts with your users. So you definitely know about configuring the persistent volume claims and ensuring that you have a service that offers persistence of that data. So in this case, they used our scalable file service for file storage. Yeah, just to ensure that the data persists even after a container has timed out. All right, then for the database side, we have the managed database, which is the RDS for MySQL that they're using. They also deployed the Oracle database on our VM cluster, ECS. Then another key fact about site reliability engineering, or even just good practices of designing an architecture, you need to know what is happening within your architecture. You need some sort of observability solution to help you monitor the metrics, configure alarms so that you can be more proactive in how you manage your architecture. So our observability, or one of our observability solutions, is CloudEye. So CloudEye basically monitors the metrics from your different infrastructure that you've deployed within the Huawei cloud. So whether it's your CPU usage, your network usage, and you can actually configure alarms from CloudEye to send alerts to you on your email, just so you can have that real-time reaction to anything that's happening within your infrastructure. And CloudEye is just scratching the surface of our observability solution. So stay tuned for the part where Iran would cover AOM, Application Operation Management. That's a really cool solution for Huawei. All right, so there also needs to be a way to store the web pages, right, in a very cost-effective and persistent way, so that you're not storing web pages inside your VMs. So we have the object storage. In Huawei, we call it OBS, to offer that static file storage, and for any backups that you may want to also store. All right, so that's a deep dive into the story of Kilimall. Okay. Yeah, so we're able to help them deploy a very robust architecture that can serve the African market and scale appropriately. So if you've actually used the Kilimall website, it's very well done and it performs very well and very seamlessly. It's very user friendly, and that's courtesy of the technology that Huawei is able to give. And not only that, but also the support that Huawei gives to the actual customer to ensure that this solution operates seamlessly. All right. Okay, so I've talked about customers, right? So you are kind of probably seeing some sort of a trend here, that typically the customers who most definitely consume cloud are people whose businesses operate on the internet. So whether it's financial services, they need some sort of way to make financial services accessible to customers all over the regions that they're operating in. And that requires the power of the internet. Maybe it's your smart city. So if you're running a smart city, you have so many IoT devices within the city collecting all this data and pushing it to your data center, and you need some sort of way to analyze and get insights and even enable your response team, maybe your police or your fire department, to respond to disasters in real time, right? Or maybe you're in the media industry, you want to serve very many users with video content, right? Or maybe you're in the e-commerce industry, another internet business where people are transacting online, right? So even as you continue your path on, maybe you're developing your DevOps skills or your cloud engineering skills, and you're charting your career path, it's always good to have your ear to the ground and get to understand your end customer, because typically the person who will consume cloud and require DevOps skills to manage that cloud environment is an internet-based business. So even in your free time, you can also take time to just research them and get to understand where those industries are going and how technology plays a role in that, and how your skills can actually benefit these companies. And that's how you make yourself more marketable. All right. Now, let's go more technical, right? How do we actually learn this Huawei Cloud? So as a beginner, you know nothing about Huawei and you want to begin from scratch. So there are 3 tools I want to recommend to you, and which I'll share on the chat. So the first one is the Huawei Cloud website. So this gives you all kinds of product documentation, right? So let me share it on the chat. Oh, I forgot to share these 2 case studies as well. Copy that and share, so you can review in your own time. Okay, so the Huawei Cloud website. This offers you everything and anything that you need to know about Huawei Cloud. Whether you're a non-technical person or even a technical delivery personnel, you're able to use this to help you navigate through every single service that Huawei offers. So when you're within the Huawei Cloud website, you should click over here on View All Products. And when you do that, it really gives you a very nice table of contents where you can easily filter what products you're searching. So maybe you're interested in the AI products that Huawei has to offer. You can click on AI and it narrows down to those services. Maybe you want to look at developer services, which is what we're gonna cover within this course. It shows you the developer services within Huawei Cloud. Okay. All right. So I want to give an example of one of the services. So let's go to containers. All right. So I talked a lot about CCE, which is container managed Kubernetes service. So when you click on a service, for example, CCE, it gives you a high level overview of what the service is, right? And then in some of the documentation, it gives you the different tiers of the service or the different pricings of the service. So in this case, CCE standard is where you deploy Kubernetes on your CCE cluster, but you also have to manage the worker nodes as well. Then there's a CCE Turbo. So this one actually has an accelerated networking capability to help you have higher performance on your Kubernetes cluster. So the VPC network and the container network are actually collapsed into one layer so that there's zero performance loss when your data is being transmitted through the network. Okay. Then we also have a serverless managed Kubernetes service, which is the CCE Autopilot. All right. And also another really cool thing about Huawei's website is that it gives you architectures in how these systems are deployed within the Huawei cloud. Yeah. So you have your load balancer connecting to your master node, which now basically manages your entire Kubernetes cluster, and you have the worker nodes at the end. Then in terms of observability of the entire workload, you have the applications operation management. Won't preempt that. Stay tuned for the next week where Aaron would be covering that. All right. Yeah, and it shows you the different use cases of this technology in an architecture, right? So you get a much more deeper understanding of just how you can use this solution in the real world. Okay, so what if you are a much more technical person who's doing the actual hands-on delivery and deployment? You click on the documentation, okay? All right, so the documentation gives you an overview of anything and everything that you want to do with this service. So the best place to start is on the best practices, right? So this basically shows you how to do different solutions using the service. So this one is containerizing an enterprise resource planning application. Okay, it takes you through the basics and just the method of how to do it. Yeah, or let's look at this one. No, let's look at DevOps. Yeah, installing and deploying Jenkins on CCE. It takes you through it from the first principles, like what is Jenkins and all that. Then it shows you the different architectures that you can work with. Yeah, and a flow diagram of how that solution would work and the actual step-by-step procedure that you can use to do that. Okay. Then another good place to start from within the documentation is the service overview. Now, this is something unique about Huawei Cloud that I've seen not available in the other hyperscalers, is that Huawei attaches infographics to the documentation. And what is an infographic? Basically, a pictorial breakdown of what the service is. So you can see we're not just saying that Huawei is user-friendly. You can clearly see, even in the documentation itself, it shows you step by step, even in diagrams, the value of the service, the key features, what it does, and how it can affect or boost your operations, right? And even some infographics show you success stories of the said service. Yeah. So this cloud is very centered around being as user-friendly as possible. So to the actual deployment, okay, even before we get there, for some of the services, it even gives you the basics of the technology from first principles. So what is Kubernetes, what are containers, what are pods, what are namespaces, just so you can have knowledge of the underlying technology before you actually use the service, right? So now when it comes to deploying, you click on the getting started page. So you can deploy Nginx, a guide on how to deploy WordPress and all that. We also have a user guide on the different elements of the service. How do you buy a Kubernetes cluster, right? How do you manage your nodes? How do you buy nodes? Yeah. How do you specify the features of different nodes and manage node pools, right? And you know, create workloads in your Kubernetes. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, the documentation is very approachable and very user-friendly. So that does it with the first tool that you can use to get started with learning Huawei. But what if you want to move a step further and move away from the theory and actually get your hands dirty and do your labs, your hands-on exercises? So we have a website called Cool Labs. Yeah. Let me confirm if I shared the Huawei Cloud website. Okay, I shared that. So now let's go to Cool Labs. Let me share that link on the chat as well. All right, back to Cool Labs. Okay, so Cool Labs basically allows you to do different labs on Huawei Cloud in a free test environment within the Huawei Cloud. So you can specify based on topic or based on the different services. So if you click more, okay, while that is loading, okay, yeah. All right, nice. So you can even specify what different technologies you want to use and what level you are. Maybe you're a beginner, maybe you're intermediate, maybe you're advanced. It gives you different labs that you can get started with deploying on Huawei and just getting an experience of the management console, the user interface, the services themselves. Yeah. And then the last material is maybe you want to have a step-by-step video course or even notes and reading material to help you gain a deeper understanding of Huawei Cloud. Or maybe you want to get certified on Huawei Cloud. So the site with the certification content is actually Huawei edu.huaweicloud.com. All right, so let me also share that on the chat so that you can easily access that later. Okay, so we are in edu.huaweicloud.com. So you can be able to have courses on the different services. Maybe you want to learn about our middleware service for RocketMQ, right? Or for Kafka, or doing a SQL Server migration, right? Or an Oracle database migration. So you can actually specify according to the technology, just as I showed on Cool Labs. Yeah. But what if you want to get certified, right? So for certification, you'd normally go to the learning page over here, the tab for learn. Then you go to career certifications. Okay, all right. So let's break down the different levels of certification within Huawei. So there's the associate level, there's the professional level, and there's the expert level. And all these certifications are divided into the various disciplines within the technology. So if you want to build expertise within Huawei Cloud Services, you can do the HCIA, HCIP, or HCIE, but for cloud service, right? Or maybe you want to delve into IoT or AI or big data, right? It gives you the content for each discipline, okay? So let's have a look at, for example, the HCIP. Let's say you want to do a certification on the HCIP. So you click on it, yeah, and it shows you. There's where you do the online learning, where you have the notes. There's also the place where you can do the hands-on practice, or rather have the lab guide to do your hands-on labs. Then there's also a practice exam, and now a place where you can apply for the written exam. Okay. Yeah. So you can click start. So ideally, this requires you to have registered a Huawei ID, which is very simple. You just click on sign up and it registers you as a Huawei user. Okay, so you can be able to access these courses very seamlessly. So as it's loading, right, so it's loaded. Okay, so it gives you the overall course outline, the different topics that you will cover, right? And you can actually click on view course. So when you click on view course, it shows you the reading material that you can use to learn all those topics that are written within the course outline to enable you to sit for the certification exam and do it. Yes, so this is the platform. Yeah, so you can filter based on the chapter that you're covering. Yeah, don't know why my internet is so slow. All right, so everything from designing the architectures to doing the compute service planning, the network service planning. All right, so it's loaded. So yeah, it gives you the notes for each topic that you can go through and read and understand and get one step closer to gaining the HCIP. Okay. All right. Now I would hand over to my colleague Iran to go over the course outline. All right, thank you so much. Mr. Iran.
Okay. Yeah, we can continue with the course outline. Can you share the slides, Anthony, if it's okay? Yeah. In this part, actually, Anthony talked about every aspect that how we can learn, how we can, after these sessions, how we can continue to learn Huawei Cloud, basically. In this training, our main goal was not just to explain these concepts, but also to show how each of them is actually implemented, how you can using in whole Huawei Cloud services. For example, we didn't just talk about the CI/CD pipelines. We will demonstrate it how we can set up secure and automated pipelines using CodeArts. CodeArts is our Huawei's DevSecOps platform. After that, we will discuss the serverless architecture. We explored FunctionGraph, which lets you run code without provisioning servers. For message queues like Kafka or RabbitMQ, we use DMS, distributed message service, to handle the synchronous communication between the components. And after that, we will see the Cloud Application Engine, CAE. It basically simplifies the application deployment without worrying about the infrastructure, worrying about the nodes under the Kubernetes concept. And we will also touch on the distributed cache service, DCS, for Redis to improve our application performance within memory caching. And we can create a managed Redis cluster with also inside the console with many features. And all after that, we wrapped things up by looking into the observability tools Huawei Cloud have. And we have 3 main observability tools. It includes for logging, tracing, metrics, and also the real-time monitoring. We have log tank service, and we have application operational management and application performance management, APM, AM, and LTS. All these services are in the PaaS layer, by the way, and these services are not standalone tools, I can say like that. They collectively support the entire application lifecycle, from development to deployment, performance monitoring, and operation. And Huawei Cloud provides an integrated environment where it includes everything you need to build, maybe run, and observe your applications. It's already in one cloud platform, you can think like that. My main goal in the sessions, we will start with for example, our week 2 next session. I will introduce, me and Anthony will introduce to CodeArts, for example. This is the outline. We will start with the presentation, including the success stories, features, every aspect, every sub-service inside the service. And we will discuss about everything in this presentation. And after that, I will jump on to the demo I will prepare for the sessions. And we will see how we can use it using a demo and seeing the console, how we can configure it and using GUI maybe or YAML or different options, how we can do it. We will see in the Huawei Cloud Console. Then we will do a small question and answer part after the session, and this is the 1 week general overall we are planning to do. And thank you for your time. Actually, this is it from my side. Anthony, do you have anything to add?
Not really much from my side. Just to also say thank you. So maybe I'm curious to know, like, what are the expectations for this course? Because I feel we've already talked a lot and given you an overview of what Huawei is, what the cloud within Huawei is, and now how that narrows down to DevOps. So what would make this engagement the most value for your time? So feel free to unmute and just let us know. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, before they get into unmuting, maybe if you want to speak, just raise your hand and I'll give you make permission. So Anthony and Aaron have talked about the course overview and all details about Huawei. Then maybe just before we get into the Q&A section, maybe to give you also what you get from and other than just the training, which is the main purpose to create the awareness of the Huawei cloud aspect. We'll also be giving certification from Nairobi DevOps for participation for this training aspect. The training will cater for 80% in terms of the session, whereby we will check on that as you attend the session. Then I do something good. As Nairobi DevOps, we are preparing for Africa DevOps Summit. So maybe in a weekly basis or anytime during the week in terms of the session, you may get maybe let me say 100%, 30%, 50% coupon for you to attend in terms of the ticket aspect for you to attend the session, and maybe 100% sponsorship for you to attend the session. To attend event that is coming up, that is Africa DevOps Summit, and also maybe to meet Anthony or Aaron in person, whom I think they'll be also attending the event at that time. So at this time, maybe I can just I say thank you for all joining up for this session. So if you tend to speak, just raise your hand. We shall give you permission to speak. Brian. Brian, your mic is on.
Oh, okay. Thank you. My name is Brian. A nice presentation. So my expectation, I've seen the course outline, but I've not seen the cloud security part. I was asking if there is basics of cloud security. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Am I still on? Okay. My mic is still on. Okay. So since this course is purely centered around DevOps, we can definitely add a slide or two just taking you through our security services. We can definitely customize that into the training. So yeah. So what specifically about cloud security? Just an overview?
Just an overview.
Okay, okay. In the next session, I can share a slide at a high level on the security services within Huawei.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian. Please feel free to give your feedback. Yeah, because we all...
Right, your mic is on.
Sorry?
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. Mine is first of all a question. I don't have prior experience with DevOps, but I'm doing a bit of machine learning. So I was wondering, is it oriented to people who have had an experience with DevOps before, or it's beginner friendly to people who do not have that experience?
That's a very good question. So
Yeah.
it's for everyone.
Sorry, Anthony. Maybe I can jump in that part.
Actually,
Actually, sorry for interruption. This general 9-week webinar is not including the DevOps part. Actually, I am looking for the platform as a service services in Huawei Cloud, and my colleagues wants me also supports me to create this support this webinar, and these services includes different aspects, and you don't need to know deeply about the DevOps. For example, we have the observability and monitoring services, and we will discuss. We also discuss the CodeArts and DevOps service, for example. But also we can discuss the FunctionGraph. It's a different service. You can run your code with the seconds, for example, without creating a server, etc. We have different aspects. We not deal with only DevOps idea, basically. If I'm terribly correct, maybe Anthony, you can say also.
yeah, I totally agree. The foundation was DevOps, but it also expanded to other topics. So he mentioned serverless, which is very developer centric, of observability, which is now for more people who are more into site reliability engineering, caching, all that. So it covers just the whole developer services, let me call it that. Yeah, so whether you're a software engineer or a DevOps engineer or a site reliability engineer, this course is definitely for you. And we can go at it from different levels. So how we've structured it is that we give the high-level overview at the beginning, the customer stories where that technology has been applied, then the hands-on demo. So that's now for the more technical guys. So it covers every member of the audience equally. That's how we try to design this course.
And maybe just also to add on, getting started to DevOps doesn't mean that it will be in a very technical aspect environment. You can get started to DevOps even if you are getting from a non-technical or non-techy aspect. So this is first track for you to get started with in terms of the DevOps.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Joshua, your mic is on. And Migrant, you can unmute and speak.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hi.
First of all, I appreciate for this nice presentation and the course overview. I'm just having I just need clarification. Are you offering certification at the end of these 9 weeks? Thank you.
In terms of certifications, we shall offer certificate of completion that is from Nairobi DevOps in collaboration with Huawei. Then we are trying to look into getting Huawei certification, but things are tight on our end. But we shall be trying much, but we can't promise any certification from Huawei aspect and aspect part of it. But there will be a certification of completion in terms of the training. Hope you're okay with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Gloria, if you can speak.
Am I audible, right?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this program that you've put together. My question is, what you talked about certification. Will they give us an opportunity to work with Huawei? You say, for example, I'm a junior DevOps engineer. If I take the certification that I get from this program, will I be given an opportunity to maybe work in the Huawei DevOps team? And also, you said that you have partnered with M-PESA. So I was trying to connect an API with Daraja. Is it part of what you manage? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. So the current programs that we have for recruitment would be the HMTP, Huawei Management Trainee Program. So that's a program that we run within the campuses within Kenya. So we heavily recruit from the campuses in Kenya. Moi University, JKUAT, University of Nairobi. So when you're recruited as a HMTP trainee, you're trained on different technologies. Maybe you move to the enterprise department or the carrier department and the like. Then based on your skill set, you're posted to a specific department. So in regards to your effort in terms of building up your DevOps skill and gaining certifications, so the opportunity I would say would be, first of all, especially as a beginner, because that's how I also started in terms of my cloud career, is working at an OEM partner. So a bit about my journey. I started in terms of the AWS certifications, got into the industry and into the industry through working with an AWS partner, then eventually now moved to the OEM side. So that can also be a trajectory. So you can also target the Huawei partners and get started on your cloud journey, because having certified personnel is actually a KPI of the cloud partners, whether they're Huawei or AWS or Google or Azure. Yeah. I hope that has answered the first question. Then for the Daraja API question, I'm not sure if it's within our scope, because we only manage the mobile money solution and the private cloud. But in terms of the API integration, I think Daraja has very robust documentation, but I can definitely check that for you within our mobile money team and respond.
Thank you so much. I think that will help me a lot.
And also, maybe for Gloria, in terms of the Garage API, you can also check for me. You can also check with me on WhatsApp. I can also link you with someone who has experience in that aspect, so that he or she can able to guide you if possible.
Yeah, sure. I will check with you on that. Also, I might have another question.
Yes.
You talked about the site reliability engineer. So there's a gap or bridge that's between the DevOps engineer and a site reliability engineer. Maybe you can shed some light so that I can understand the difference, because in most job applications, you find that they kind of have the same roles, but I think they also still have some difference. Maybe someone can guide me through it to understand better, so that maybe I'm applying for a junior DevOps engineer or a DevOps engineer role and a site reliability engineer role. Maybe there's a difference. So you can shed some light on that. Thank you.
Okay. I think there are people way more qualified than me in this call to answer that, but I can answer from my understanding of the difference between a DevOps and site reliability engineer. So I would say that a DevOps engineer, okay, I look at it as like at the product level, right? So a DevOps engineer's work is to automate and streamline how this software product moves from development to the end user, right? They streamline that process. Yeah. Then the site reliability engineer is in charge of what we call day two operations. So maintaining the service level agreements or service level objectives of that product once it's up and running, because it's a commitment that the company has made to the clients to retain a certain level of service of that product. So the site reliability engineer, now through the observability tools like Prometheus, Grafana, Elasticsearch, to basically get the telemetry from this product that's actively running within that piece of infrastructure and ensure that it's operating within the service level objectives or service level agreements. And that's how I understand the difference between the DevOps engineer and the site reliability engineer. But a lot of times you find the two overlap, like they combine both disciplines into one and just call it DevOps engineer. Yeah. Unless anyone may have more to add, yeah, feel free. and there was silence. So
Yeah.
does that conclude the question, or does anyone have anything to add?
I think I see Kevin. Kevin, if you can speak.
Okay, so we'll take the last question
Yeah.
because I see that the session is now 1 minute overdue.
Yeah, we
Kevin
can.
or Areba, if you can speak, we'll appreciate.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I was asking about the point that you referenced earlier before when you were responding to Gloria, that internship and the mentorship is offered by the starting from the partner institution. So for me, I come from a university that is not in partnership with Huawei. So how can I get in touch or contact, or how can I be registered to those partners so that I can start benefiting?
Okay, so let me clarify the point because it seems like there are two things that are joined together. So one side is the graduate trainee program, the Huawei Management Trainee Program, or known as HMTP. So HMTP has intakes for people who've recently graduated from campus. They have annual intakes. So I think the last one was in around May. They even publicized it. Yeah, so whether or not you're from one of these big universities where you have people already knowing about it, it's something that you can still apply for. So by the fact that you guys are within this group, in case I hear anything of recruitment of a new cohort for HMTP, I would definitely post it on the group just to ensure that you're ready and available to execute on that opportunity. So the other side is more of career, like launching your cloud career within the market. So ideally, the trajectory would be, for most people, you start at a cloud partner. So whether it's an AWS partner or a Huawei partner or an Azure partner. So partners are basically companies that resell the cloud services, or maybe they've built products on the cloud and they sell to the end customers. Yeah. So that the cloud provider isn't directly selling to the end customer, they sell through the partner. In some models, they also have distributors. So, okay, let me give, for example, in the AWS side, you have your AWS partner at the bottom. Then above the AWS partner, you have a distributor. So like in this region, the distributor is Reddington. Yeah. Then above the distributor, you have now the cloud vendor, or they call it the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, which would be AWS. So in Huawei, we have several partners. One that's very specialized in DevOps that I know is called FinSense Africa. Yeah, currently we don't have a distributor in this region, unfortunately, but as the market continues to grow, we'll also recruit distributors as well. Yeah, so that's normally the trajectory that people take. You start from partner level, you go now to the distributor, then eventually now to the OEM or cloud vendor.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe you can have a last question from Patricia. Then I can line up. Then for more questions, you can continue the conversation WhatsApp or WhatsApp group. We'll be able to answer that. So, Patricia.
So, hi.
I hope you are having a lovely evening. So my question is, how about us who are self-taught or bootcamp products? Do you have opportunities for us now that most of these opportunities, I guess, are for graduates who've actually taken the long route, but for us who switch careers midway, are there opportunities where you check on the skills rather than the degree?
That's a very good question. And that's why like I really laid emphasis on the customers that we've interacted with in the region. So maybe your trajectory wouldn't necessarily be at the vendor side. It can actually start from the customer side because you do have skills that are relevant to a customer. For example, a fintech is most definitely using DevOps to streamline how they're releasing their product. So whether you're self-taught or whether you've graduated or not, if you have the skill and you can demonstrate it, you definitely get an opportunity, even at the customer level, whether it's an e-commerce, whether it's a startup or a fintech or even a bank at times. Yeah, so I want you guys to look at it holistically, not just at partners, distributors, and vendors, but also at the customers who are consuming. Because as a customer, you want to have a team that can manage the system that the vendor has offered you, right? You want to build your own capability in-house, and that needs personnel. So that's why, like I really emphasized earlier on, uh, get to have your ear to the ground on these industries that rely on the internet to run their business. And a good platform to get to learn about this is, I don't know if any of you know of DX5. DX5, they used to be called CIO Africa. They usually have summits for different kinds of industries, whether it's insurance, whether it's fintech, whether it's startups. So it's a really good way to get to learn about who are the players in the industry, what are their concerns, how can your skills align with what they're trying to do, so that even as you're going for that job application or that interview, you're speaking with insights from the industry and it's not just theoretical knowledge. Yeah, I hope that kind of gives you better perspective, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Did you say DX5 or DX5?
So D, X, then the number 5, then V, then E. DX.
I've shared the link in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you can check them out on YouTube. Yeah.
So thank you all for joining up for this session, and thank you, Anthony and Aaron, for taking us through the info session and to know all about Huawei. So this is the beginning of the training for the 9 weeks. So this is the week one, which you're calling it an M, just to know the overview of what we tend to cover. So next week, using the same link, we'll be diving into the CTB aspect. So let's continue the conversation. One WhatsApp. If you've got any question, we'll get to answer that on the WhatsApp. Thank you, and have a good night or a good morning or good evening whenever you are.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
And maybe Anthony, Anthony, as you are leaving, maybe while we are going to wind up the training, you can invite the management team, so those dealing with the recruitment, so that they can also talk with the trainees in terms of the more aspects in terms of the training and recruitment.
Okay. I can see what I can do internally. Yeah. There's a key aspect I wanted to highlight for the last question. Really get to network and talk to people, because even as I was starting out, because I switched careers to cloud, I'd go for these tech events to get to network with people. Even though those networks didn't mature at that instant, they ended up maturing later. So even in as much as you're learning everything from a skill level and also from an industry level, get to talk to people, get to be in these developer communities, because you never know where your next opportunity comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Talking about events, as Nairobi DevOps, so you're preparing, you've got a couple of events that coming up. One, you've got Open Infra Day that is happening on 6th September in partnership with Open Infra Community Kenya. It will be happening at Angani offices. Then for Nairobi DevOps, you've got Africa DevOps Summit, whereby the tickets are already up, going. You can check our website, that is DevOps Summit.Africa, to know about what are the ticket prices. So, and you're going to you continue the training, maybe you may get a chance to get that is 100%, 50% off the ticket price. Yeah, so thank you all for joining up this session. Your host today was Lawrence Juma from Nairobi DevOps. See you next time, same place, same time. Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice night.